Okay, welcome everyone. So let's start with an invocation. Today we are going to be talking about um, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So we had a session on Sunday and then we've been doing a couple of sessions after that. So as with all of our sessions, we try and not repeat anything that we've already covered on a Sunday. So you know that every episode is a little new and fresh. So welcome to the session. Today will be the fifth and last session of this series. It was International Yoga Week on the 21st of June. So we're just kind of picking up from there. Okay, so let's close our eyes, connect the tongue to the palate. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Let's center ourselves. Let's calm our emotions and our mind. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Let us pray. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly. Thank you for your divine help and protection, for illumination, for abundance and prosperity. We thank you. Let's do the soul affirmation. I am that I am. I am not the body. I am not the emotions. I am not the thought. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark within me. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God, and I am one with all. This is the truth, regardless of the capacity of the brain to experience the truth. I am that I am. Okay, so the Yoganga of Patanjali, so plunging right into our topic, the Yoganga of Patanjali is basically the limbs of yoga. You know, sometimes what we call Hatha Yoga or we call Pranayam, those are all parts of yoga. The first thing that Patanjali talks about in his book it's called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and I have this really nice version of it. And so the thing is that when we read some of this stuff, it's really terse, right? There's like a lot of stuff in it, and you're like, okay, how do I do this? So one of the beauties of the Pranic Healing School is that Master has really broken it down for us, and the five virtues, out of which we have already talked about four, we're going to be talking about the fifth one today. So, this being International Yoga Week and also being the overall theme of finance that we've been working on all through. So, over here in the book, The Ancient Art and Science and Art of Pranic Healing by Master Choa, he says that one should avoid extreme or excessive behavior and practice moderation. So those of us have already been there through the four virtues that we discussed, loving kindness, generosity, honesty, and constancy. There's also moderation. So, sometimes we meet people who are just so extra loving that you're just like, okay, you're not going to get anything done, because if you just keep taking excuses from your people, nothing's going to get done. So at some point, the loving kindness has to stop. And that's where moderation comes in. Similarly, generosity. So once there was this person who was donating about 50% of their income. 50% of your income is quite a bit to donate. It's not a good idea to donate 50% of your income. So, that's again moderation. Honesty, I think we've already discussed it earlier, but this is a really important topic because you don't want to be honest, so honest that you end up hurting yourself and you end up hurting other people. And of course, there's constancy and non-laziness, but that also means that we are not going to overwork, right? So in the section of moderation and non-excessiveness, Master Choa says, it means that one should avoid excessive wasteful spending. And he also says one should save and invest 20 to 30% of one's net earnings. So please note net earnings after tax and after tithing. So this is after tithing. This is one of the keys to prosperity according to Master Choa. So when we say, after tax and after tithing, that means you have to deduct those and then you calculate the savings. Now, there are lots of people who feel that, they don't have enough money and there's no way that they can save. well, that's not really being moderate and non-excessiveness, you know. So there are these sayings, at least you know, in general talk, you know, where people say, you know, don't spread your legs beyond your blanket, for example. So what that basically means is that don't spend more than you can, right? So so the beauty I feel with the pranic healing school is that it's moderation and it's non-excessiveness. So sometimes we don't know what moderation is. So again, over here, Master Choa Kok Sui says that even if you're a healer, you know, you can't exhaust yourself. You have to take rest on a certain day. So he says a healer can be more useful to society for a longer period of time by practicing moderation and healing. So, you know, to me, moderation was one of the most difficult things to practice because I just thought, you know, moderation meant, you know, something that I just didn't understand, honestly. And so it took some time to understand what is moderation. And today it's my favorite virtue to practice because at any point, if I feel that I'm going off balance, then, you know, moderation kind of brings us back. So again, if you look at the screen, you know, we have this, you know, we have this yin and yang symbol, right? So the yin and yang symbol basically is a constant motion. So there's black and there's white, and within the white is a seed of black, and within the black is a seed of white. What that means is that within any excess is also the solution. So right now we're all dealing with, you know, the COVID-19 virus. We're dealing with financial issues. Now within that is the seed. Now the point is, how do we know, you know, what this seed is going to do, and how to kind of go about doing this, right? So for that we have, of course, the twin hearts meditation. So one of the things also is that when we are doing twin hearts meditation, sometimes we have people calling us saying, "Oh, can we do it like 5 times a day?" You can, but you probably should not. Okay, because again, the virtue of moderation and non-excessiveness. So nothing is to be taken to an extreme. If you have any questions, you can just type it in the chat box, because this is a topic which I find that is best understood by Q&A. So one of the things that I've found is that you know, when I'm thinking that I'm becoming very harsh with someone, or I'm becoming very disciplinarian with someone, or I'm just being very, you know, very task oriented, and I just need to move away. And I also need to keep in mind that this person is a human being and practice some love. So that's when the combinations come in. Now, if you're wondering, you know, how to navigate the space, so that's what we have Arhatik Yoga for. So if you happen to take the Arhatik Yoga course, you'll understand how slowly, step by step, you know, by various techniques we are actually taught. Because, you know, it's one thing to be lectured on and to be told that, you know, one should be moderate. It's a completely different thing to know how to practice it. So one of the beauties again of the pranic healing school is that, you know, we take people step by step through it. So one of the things that I always say is, one thing that you don't need to be too moderate about is blessing. You can be, you know, you can open your heart and you can just bless. There is no excessiveness in blessing, because blessing is one thing that we can do nonstop. So then your question may be, why? Why is it that blessing doesn't have an excessive portion? Have you ever thought about that? So to me, the answer lies in the fact that when we are blessing, what we are actually using is energy from the Supreme God. The energy from the Supreme God comes in through our crown, goes in through our, you know, passes through our body, goes out of our hands. Now, Supreme God is infinite. So those of us who have read the books on the solar system, I would like to just touch upon this little point that, you know, some of us believe in astrology, right? And, you know, we believe in the planets, and we believe in this, and we believe in that. But did you know that what we do also affects the planets? Did you ever think about that? You know, when we are nice to somebody, or when we practice any of these virtues, did you know that we are also affecting the planets? I'm sure all of us have come across astrologers who have claimed that, you know, so and so thing will happen in your life. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. Okay. Sometimes you talk to an astrologer and they say, oh, we have to calculate. So why do they have to calculate? Why do they have to calculate? The reason they have to calculate is because we all have free will. And like I said, you know, we have a video on free will and destiny. If you want to review that, it's on YouTube on our channel. You could do that. But basically, the solar system is designed in a way that, everything and everyone is evolving together. So if today, we think, what is the point? Then you should definitely read the book, The Solar System by Arthur Powell, and give you a perspective on, who we are, and where are we going. So one of the other topics I want to talk about here is also what's called the koshas. So again, Patanjali talks about these. There are the 5 koshas. First kosha is the Annamaya kosha. So excessiveness in Annamaya kosha. What do you think that means? That means eating in moderation. That means also, having sex in moderation. So anything related to the physical body in moderation. So the next one is the Kama Kosha. So Kama Kosha, or rather, sorry, the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the etheric body. So again, those of us who are doing pranic healing, we know that we are working on the etheric body. Now, the Pranamaya Kosha is something that draws its energy from the air, the sun, and the ground pranas. Okay, again, no excessiveness. So, for example, we hear of people who do a lot of breathing exercises, and I had somebody in my apartment building who actually passed away because of doing a certain breathing exercise which caused a very severe hypertension. So again, non-excessiveness, do your breathing exercise, don't be excessive. Okay, the next one is kama kosha, which is the kosha of desires, and so all the desires that we have are kind of sitting in our kosha. Now, it's a good idea to have desires, but it's not a good idea to have too many desires, right? So Master in his book The Existence of God also says, you must, there should be power and there should be purpose. So again, if we have too many desires, then we are spreading our energy into many things and nothing happens to materialize. Instead, once in a while you focus on a few things, work on them, build them up, and then see how life changes. Okay. The next kosha is the manomaya kosha, which is the kosha of thoughts. So again, sometimes we have people in our life, right? And you know that they just think too much, and you're just like, stop thinking so much, don't think so much. I'm sure you've said that to somebody who came to you with some issue in life, right? So that is the Manomaya Kosha. And then beyond that, we have what is called the bliss sheath. This is called the causal body. Now, the causal body is one that contains the seeds and the records of all our lives. So that's like the 5th kosha. And again, the topic that we're talking about is moderation and non-excessiveness. So no, moderation in food, moderation in breathing, moderation in desires and emotions, moderation in thoughts. So, sometimes we come across a person and we say, oh, this person is so emotional. Okay, so the next question may be, are emotions bad? No, they're not bad unless they're excessive. Is it bad to think? Is it bad if I think too much? Too much? Yes. But is it bad if you think? No. Is it bad if you don't think? Definitely. Right? So these are basically like, ways in which you can just tell yourself to kind of go in balance. So I'm just going to put up the slide one more time. This is again the yoga-anga of Patanjali. This is the 8-fold path of Patanjali. These are the 2 rules that we are talking about. So in pranic healing, we talk about them as the golden rule, the yama, which is to do, and the niyama, which is not to not do. And we have the 5 virtues, which we're going to practice in one after the other. And we've talked about this in our sessions, is how to go about practicing these things. Okay. Now, beyond this, there are 6 more limbs of yoga, which we talked about on Sunday. And again, that's available on our YouTube video if you want to review it. And apart from that, there is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is a completely different level altogether. So that we'll be covering in our Bhagavad Gita series, which is due to be released sometime soon. Okay. So with that, we'll move on to the exercises, and we will